Hey guys, I hope everyone's day is going well. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the YoYoFriends Papercut. Let's jump right in. Okay, so as usual with any of my reviews, I've got to give credit where credit is due. I want to thank YoYoFriends and specifically Philip for sending me this yo-yo right here. Super generous of him. This is an amazing yo-yo and I'm super excited to review it today. I'm going to include all of the links to YoYoFriends and everything like that in the description down below. So once you finish up with this video, be sure to check out their store, Instagram, and everything like that. So before I jump into the specs and review the actual yo-yo, I want to give just a little bit of background as to what this yo-yo is all about. So the Papercut itself is actually YoYoFriends' 8th anniversary yo-yo. It's crazy to think they've been around for 8 years. I've been reviewing their yo-yos for so many years now, and it's awesome to see that they've made it this far. This yo-yo itself is essentially a bimetal version of one of their previously released yo-yos, the Shortcut. If you guys remember, I did a review on the Shortcut. Absolutely love that yo-yo. You can go ahead and check it out. And so this is essentially a bimetal version of that with a few tweaks and things here and there. Their goal with this yo-yo right here is to make a really nice bimetal that is light, fast, powerful, and can withstand all your competition tricks. And so in today's video, we're gonna find out if they succeeded. Okay, so now that we've gone over the history, let's talk a little bit about the specs of this yo-yo. I'm gonna show them on the screen in the next clip, and then I'll discuss what I think about them. Okay, so starting first with the specs, diameter of 55.5 millimeters is not the biggest in the world. We can call that just a little bit on the large size, but honestly, this isn't too irregular. The width of 45 millimeters is very standard for a yo-yo in this day and age. Some might argue it's a little bit wide, but honestly, all yo-yos are getting so much wider, so we can call 45 millimeters pretty standard. The weight of 63.35 millimeters, very exact amount, is a little bit on the light side. I know yo-yos are getting a lot lighter in this day and age, but I would still say 63 is a little on the light. The material is 6061 aluminum and has stainless steel bimetal rims, as you can see, if it wasn't already obvious. And then the price of this yo will range from 84 to 89 USD. To me, that price is pretty standard for a really, high performing competition yo-yo, so that doesn't really jump out to me as being super irregular. Okay, so we established specs, nothing super irregular, kind of normal for a competition yo-yo, maybe a little bit on the wider and lighter side. Now let's talk a little bit about the actual design of the yo-yo. So, first impressions, this is a clean looking yo-yo. I absolutely love this colorway that I got here. It's a really nice teal color. It kind of matches my jacket, which is nice. And this thing is just beautiful. It's got so many nice cuts around it, so it has a really kind of flashy design, but at the same time, it doesn't have any wild engravings that would make this thing look a little bit too intense. It's kind of like the idea of being minimalistic, clean, but still having a lot of intricate details that give this yo-yo the personality it needs. So, let's talk a little bit about that shape. This is a nice, chunky H shape, as you can see there. Those bimetal rims are huge on the sides. Oh my gosh, those things are wild. And then it's got a really nice concave slope down to the bearing. So this shape automatically screams to me this is competition oriented. You can see how it's just so angular right there and has such a wide gap to catch the yo-yo. This signals that this is quite the competition yo-yo and quite the performer as well. As you can see, it's got a couple cuts there in the actual shape, but that's about it. Now moving on over to the cup, we can see that that bimetal rim actually wraps all the way around, just establishing that this is a huge stainless steel bimetal rim. Look at that thing. From there, we can see we've got a bunch of cuts that lead down to a flat center of the yo-yo. You can see we got all those different little ridges there. I'll talk a little bit later in the grind section of the video how it performs. But overall, this is a nice looking yo-yo, and again, I'm a big fan of this colorway. Now, I haven't seen the CAD files of this yo-yo, but if I had to guess, the majority of the weight in this yo-yo is going to be on those stainless steel bimetal rims since they are huge, but I also bet that they put a little bit of weight in the center to just make it a little bit more balanced. Okay, so what you guys have all been waiting for, how does this yo-yo perform? How does it play on the string? What's it like? In my opinion, this is an awesome competition yo-yo. Oh my gosh, this yo-yo is quite the performer. You throw this thing down, you can feel the stability it has, you can feel the amount of power. It feels very aggressive, but you kind of want that for a competition yo-yo in my opinion. In general, I definitely found this to be a lighter yo-yo. Traditionally, yo-yos with this much weight on the rims play a little bit heavy in my opinion, but this one is a great exception to that. In my opinion, I found it to play very light, very nimble on the string, and it was really easy to change direction with it. When you throw this thing down, you can tell that it's just gonna stay on the same plane that it's at. So those bimetal rims come in clutch because if you throw some kind of wacky tricks at it, or maybe something that would normally throw a yo-yo off axis, this yo absolutely powers through, which is such a cool attribute. So as you'd expect, fast tricks are really nice with this yo-yo, not only because it's so light, but also the power of it allows you to do some longer rail combos and really push this thing to the limits. I also really liked how wide the gap was, and that made it a lot easier for your whips, hops, slacks, arm tricks, anything of that sort. It just made it a lot easier to land. You guys know that I'm a big fan of my wide yo-yos, and since this yo-yo is a little bit on the wider side and has such a large gap, it was really easy to hit some of my more complex tricks and land some lacerations that normally wouldn't be as consistent on other yo-yos. Now, when I saw how big these bimetal rims were, I was a little bit concerned that your binds and regens would be a little bit more tough. In the past, I've talked about how yo-yos that have so much rim weight sometimes are a little bit slippy and unpredictable on the binds. However, I'm not sure how they accomplished this or what response pads came with this yo-yo, but I found my binds and regens to be consistent and very easy to do. I didn't really find too much snagging with this yo-yo. I'm currently using OT fat string, and I really didn't have any issues with snagging, especially when I was on a couple strings at once. And so when I was doing my binds and regens, as you can see in this video, I found them very easy to hit some more complex and risky binds, and the regens themselves came out very powerful and stable, which is awesome. I also really like that this yo-yo didn't have too much wobble on the regens. So sometimes yo-yos that are a little bit wider will have a major issue where after you complete the regen, the yo-yo is wobbling and vibing like crazy. However, I think that since this yo is just so well engineered and designed that when you do those regens, they come out really pretty normal. Not too much wobble or vibe, which is awesome. And lastly, this yo is great for grinds. So as I showed before, there's a really nice wide and open gap on this yo. So if you're doing finger grinds and things like that, it'll stay on your finger for a while and there will be very little friction between your actual finger and the yo-yo, which is awesome. Thumb and talon grinds were okay with this yo-yo. There's a bit of a ridge to lock in there, but it's not the easiest in the world. But I might get a little bit of criticism for saying this, but who's doing thumb grinds in 2024? And lastly, finger spins were pretty good with this yo-yo. You'll notice that it has a flat center, and so as a result, it's not going to like lock your finger in. If you're decent at doing finger spins, you'll be able to have it kind of circle around your finger for a while before binding the yo-yo. So I didn't really have too many problems with that. And in general, I prefer yo-yos that have flat caps just because the weight distribution is a little bit better than those that have a finger spin dimple. All right, so in conclusion, in my opinion, the Papercut is a really nice yo-yo. Now, I didn't mention this before, but I just thought of it. The rims themselves, it's worth saying, are not so sharp that you're gonna cut yourself. They really round them out in a nice way. So don't worry about cutting yourself like a Papercut. But in general, I was just super impressed with this yo-yo. It's a solid competition yo-yo. It's gonna power through your harder tricks. I also had a lot of fun with this. I've been playing with this on vacation for like the last 2 weeks as my only yo-yo, and it hasn't become boring or stale at all. So I think it's also a really fun yo-yo, and it just performs your tricks well. In my opinion, this is an excellent competition yo-yo, not only for its performance, but also its price. Some competition yo-yos in this day and age are coming in over $100. Since this one is under $100, you can get a couple of these if you really save up your money, and then you'll have your backups for the competition. So I'm happy to see that this yo-yo doesn't exceed $100 because then you're getting into some pretty expensive territory for a yo-yo. All right, and that's about it for my review of the YoYoFriends Papercut. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to leave a like. Also, if you're new here and haven't seen my videos before, hit that subscribe button so you can see whenever I post a new video. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Peace.